I like the background, man.
Thanks, man. It's dark here in Cleveland right now. You're looking awfully dapper.
Hey, this is the new and improved Joe Vore Podcast, man. We got like a set. I'm dressing up. We got a new logo. It's coming along, man. I'm excited about it.
I love it, dude. Yeah, I'm so happy to see all the stuff you're doing. Are you still in Arizona?
Yeah, I'm an Arizona dude. At risk of giving away my information, I'm a Arizona resident.
Damn, man.
I know.
Congratulations. That's so cool.
It's kind of surreal. I did it back in the fall and it felt a little weird. I still look at my Ohio ID once in a while, but it's like, this is where I'm supposed to be, but it's weird being like an official Arizona person now.
Yeah, I could only imagine how weird it'd be, but dude, that's so awesome. I'm really happy for you. That's great.
You're welcome. So going back to your background again, I'm cracking up because it looks like it's the same. I don't know if you remember playing NBA 2K, and like if you did a franchise, you could always pick like where the All-Star game was. And my buddy and I, the Snowman, will love this. We played probably 10 years worth of a franchise over the span of like a weekend. And we would always pick the All-Star game to be in Cleveland. And that was basically like the black and white version of that picture would always say like, oh, look, we'd always be like, the All-Star game is back in Cleveland. How exciting. Can't believe they chose us again. And that was always the picture that they used. So it's like, it's like cracking me up right now. It's like an ultimate inside joke.
No, and it's like whenever somebody comes here and films something, they're like, oh, we gotta like go to this exact spot wherever the hell it is. So it's like the same picture every time. So I don't know, it's just a popular spot, but that's pretty funny.
Speaking of popular spots, you were sort of not really my neck of the woods, but a place I'm familiar with. Were you in Ashland yesterday?
I was, dude.
Yeah, so you did skydiving and then was it Grandma or Grandpa's Cheese Barn?
Grandpa's Cheese Barn. Yeah, so obviously right down the street. Because are you from Mansfield? Are you from Lexington?
Yeah, I grew up in Lexington, but you obviously know where it is, but outside people, I'm like Mansfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That's so nuts. It was fun. It's a good area. I like Ashland. It's a cute town. It was fun.
Yeah, it's cool. AU, that's where we would do our football team camp. So that was always fun to like go there, and they have a great facility. So Ashland's great.
They do, man. Yeah. No, it was cool. I got to go around. Yeah, skydiving was nuts.
Yeah.
Coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life, I think. So
I bet.
It was good. Yeah.
Let's start with the we're rolling. I figure I've had you on 100 times, so we're just gonna shoot it, man. I just wrote
100%. All good.
Random, just so you know, like we're not just dicking around here. But how long so you've been doing exclusively, like you quit your job is content now, right? How long has that been?
A little over 3 months now. Yeah.
How's that been? Talk about it. What were you doing before again? What was your job?
I was in digital marketing for a company on the west side of Cleveland, and it's honestly been terrifying, scary, and super exciting at the same time. I think just like going after it, I think is super surreal. Like for the first time, and we're like, hey, like I'm the person that has to bring in the pills. I can't really rely on anybody else, and like for example, like taxes are going to be super scary because I keep delaying those. So that's great. But there's so many good things that come from it too. Like I can vacation and go anywhere I want, whenever I want. I can work with anybody I want. I can set my own schedule and hours and stuff. And that can be a blessing and it can be a curse. But I'm figuring that all out right now. And I will say though, it has been super rewarding other than my Twitter getting permanently suspended. I think it's been decent so far.
Wait, why did it get suspended, and what's the status of that? It's gone forever?
Yeah. Well, as of now, yes. I am appealing it. So basically, just to give you a background and people that are listening a background, DMCA, which is like Digital Music Copyright Authority, or I don't know what the A stands for, probably asshole.
Yeah.
To me, they're assholes. Basically, they don't have an agreement with Twitter. They have one with TikTok and Instagram. YouTube, they don't really have one either. But basically, if you have like any song in the background or in a video at all, it's a DMCA violation because it's not your song. Not that I'm profiting off or anything, but anyways, TikTok and Instagram, great laws with the agreement. Twitter, they have no agreement. So they flagged me for a video I posted July 25th, 2020.
Oh.
They flagged me for it last week. It had a Machine Gun Kelly song in it. It was a Baker Mayfield hype video. And yeah, it's just, it's weird. No, it just came out of nowhere. I've had a few violations though. So, I mean, rules are rules. Like I get that, but the laws are so vague, and it's not like I was, going out of my way just to, break some DMCA laws. Like, so it's what it is, but I'm appealing it now. Hopefully we get it back. But it kind of sucks. I built that baby up first, and just kind of see it go to the wayside. Just kind of, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. You were up and over 40K, right?
Yeah. And I think I started to make, because my career and stuff right now, I predominantly, my income is TikTok and things like that. I'm pulling from YouTube and other things like that, but TikTok's the main thing. In Twitter, I was just starting to get some stuff from it, like big things from it, because I was a media member at the NFL draft, Bleacher Report. I did some stuff on Amazon Prime. And part of the Amazon Prime agreement was keeping tweets up for more than a month. And they were up for 3 days before my account got suspended. So it's like, but yeah, so hopefully I get that back. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Good Lord. So what has been your main thing since you started just doing content? Has it been you going around to these different towns, being toured around, whether it's like the mayor or just different people and going to different restaurants? Is that that's like the main thing that I've seen from you? Is that like the main, like big thing that you're focusing on right now? I know you do 100 of different things. You do your rants, you have your Maui Ski Club, you do your music, but when you say traveling around town to town doing that, is that the main thing right now?
Yeah. So typically I work with, like visitors bureaus, chambers of commerce, main streets, and I go around to towns predominantly in Ohio, and I promote those towns. So yeah, that's the main way I bring in income and stuff. There's other things that I do just to try and, bring people in to watch, so that the videos that I make about towns get more views and things like that. Right. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's been busy. But I've gotten to go to a lot of places in the state that I never would have probably gone before. And even out of the state as well. I've gone to like Louisiana, West Virginia, Michigan, Indiana, Florida, and just there's just so many great people at so many local levels and things like that. And it's something I fell into that I didn't think in a bajillion years I would ever be doing, especially for like a living, especially on my own, creating a company doing this stuff. So it's been like I said, very rewarding, very cool. And like, I don't know, like Ohio gets this, I mean, it's obviously there are, good parts and bad parts, but gets a bad rap nationally for whatever reason. And I feel like my calling, my kind of job, at least for now, is to show people that, that.
All right. Yeah. So you were just saying, you feel like your job is to kind of like when the draft came to Cleveland, just put it on, light it up like Vegas, like LeBron said. And and just push it up on a platform. Because I think the biggest thing that the people that seem to always talk down in Ohio and Cleveland specifically are definitely people that have never been there, which I never understand. I talk shit about In-N-Out all the time, but I've tried In-N-Out 3 or 4 times. I've given it a chance. I've tried different things, but I just don't understand. You know what I mean? I think you're really fighting the good fight, trying to get the good of Cleveland out there, because really the bar scene and the food, and when it stinks too. It definitely takes a dip, because it really does when it's the springtime and you got the Tribe when they're good, and you have the Browns, you got NFL draft, and when the Cavs are in the playoffs, like those years when LeBron was here and the Tribe was good, it was really hard to beat in the springtime, especially when the weather breaks and it's nice. But really, even without that stuff, Cleveland is great, and people need to know that.
No, 100%. It's definitely a good time. Whatever reason, it just gets a bad rap, and I feel like if you say, I mean, like, you can have your opinion on the city and everything like that, but I think if you come at it uneducated and things like that, it just kind of proves that you've never been into the city. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think with the NFL draft, I think it really showed a lot of people. I met probably a person from every other fan base besides Cleveland and at the draft. And I think every person had the consensus that they didn't know, like, Cleveland had all this stuff, they don't realize Lake Erie is like actually an ocean and not actually like a lake. And no, it's definitely a good time. I mean, I feel like it's kind of my calling, like I said, to be like, hey, Ohio's a great place to live and there's a lot of good things to do here. So I guess it helps when you get paid to do it.
Yeah,
but I think it comes from an actually genuine place as well.
I think so too. So let's stay on the draft. So I saw you. What'd you do at the draft? I saw you shaved your head so that you new look.
I did. I'm bald.
New look, Sir Yacht, bald Sir Yacht, and you ate a lemon. So start with the lemon. Why'd you have to eat a lemon again? Was this something with Justin Fields?
Yeah. I mean, well, I did it because I was an idiot, but the real reason is because with the 49ers, I said if they weren't going to draft Justin Fields, because there's always talk about Mac Jones, there's always talk about Trey Lance, and I was just like, there's no way. Yeah. So I came up with this thing with Bleacher Report betting, BR betting, and I was like, hey, if Justin Fields does not get drafted by the 49ers, I will eat a lemon with the rind and the tag on it. Yeah. And yeah, had the lemon ready, was really nervous, and I was like, all right. So ate the lemon, was not good. And then for the Browns, I thought they were going to draft Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in the first round.
Yeah.
So I was like, a good content thing. I said I'd shave my head if they did. Well, they didn't. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm in the clear. What I didn't know is that I slide 26 picks down to the Browns with their second round pick.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, shit. So yeah, my videographer had a lot of fun with it. He was like, hey, I'll set up a little barbershop set. And we created some content, shaved my head, and yeah, now it's not shaved for no reason because Twitter's gone. That was what it was for. It's all gone. It's all gone now. Just like my hair, all gone.
There's pros and cons to everything. You get good content out of it. Con, that content's now gone. Pro, he's really good and he's on the Browns. And con, you also, you don't have any hair right now. So
dude, I really miss my hair.
It goes back and forth.
So I've gotten so many people to say like, I look like Joe Thomas, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard human penis. Those are some things that I think I've heard too. Yeah.
You wouldn't know him. He's not a famous person, but the old athletic director at our school named Joe Roberts. Now, you're much slimmer than he was, but you posted a selfie on Twitter and I sent it to my buddy and I'm like, dude, this is young Joe Roberts. He goes, oh my God, I see it. I was just like, yeah, if Joe Roberts just lost like 1,000 pounds, like this is what it would look like. Athletic director, funny. Shout out. But so obviously I'm sure you're ecstatic with the Browns draft. And now we got a couple schedule leaks. I almost was going to send you a message like, hey, do we want to wait until the schedule comes out? We've heard two things. It sounds like we're going to open up with Kansas City week 1, 4:25 slot. Makes sense. And then on Christmas Day at Green Bay, which I'm excited for. I love both of these.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't really open up the season in a better way than like playing the team that you lost to the season before that.
Right.
I mean, in terms of roster, the Browns have a top 3 roster in the NFL. I think the Chiefs are obviously up there as well.
Yeah.
And hey, if the Browns, have to get to the Super Bowl, they got to beat the Chiefs. So it's a great test right out the gate. Let's see where they're at. I don't think it's going to be a end all be all game even if they win or even if they lose. Yeah, no. But I mean, what a great matchup. And then Christmas Day against the Packers. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers is like still there. That's so funny because all these people are saying that the Browns should trade for him and trade Baker. So, that would never happen, but it'd be really funny if it did, just for that game. Not actually be funny though. But that'll be great. They got a tough schedule. They really do. Their road schedule for the Browns is really tough. The home schedule is a little bit easier. Right. But they're also like, I don't know if they have necessarily any weaknesses right now, top to bottom, anywhere in the offense and defense. Kicker. I mean, you can maybe say special teams, kicker,
maybe.
But it was Stephen Parkey, like, yeah, he played well last year. I mean, like when it mattered in the playoffs. So I don't know.
Let's take a second to talk about Cody Parkey. I want to get back to the schedule. So Cody Parkey, it cracks me up because you are never, it doesn't matter whether it's an extra point, a field goal, you are never impressed when the ball comes off his foot. It doesn't have a pop. It doesn't have that, it doesn't launch like Justin Tucker, but he makes a lot of kicks and he didn't lose any games for us last year. And if it wasn't for having one of the most famous missed field goals in the playoffs, I think he's only ever missed one field goal and one kick in his entire postseason career. It just happens to be the double doink. It's like the most famous one of all time. And he was on the Browns before, and now he's back. I mean, I remember being at that Browns Steelers game. I was there week 17. Him and Scottish Hammer and the long snapper ran out a little bit early to do some more warm-ups, right? And this before the game even started, and Cody Parkey's getting booed. I was like cracking up. I'm like, Jesus, like, welcome to Cleveland football, where your team's trying to go to the playoffs for the first time in 1,000 years against the Steelers, and you're booing the kicker who's never lost you a game. But that's just, it's just like there's this like stigma and aura around him. It's insane.
It is, and it's sad. I feel like with him too, that double doink thing, I feel like that wasn't even his fault, because I think I read somewhere, at least I saw, that the football was facing the wrong way. Regardless, yeah, he definitely hasn't lost the Browns any games, and I just think it's like, you know, it's like the perfect thing. That's what it was with Seibert or whatever the fuck his name was. It is, you know, the Browns had a great roster, and then the, you know, first game in 2019, he misses the extra point, and I felt like that was just an omen for the entire season. I was like, this is unbelievable. So, you know, hopefully Cody continues to kick well and not lose us games. But man, I it's so weird because I just don't see a weakness anywhere in the roster.
Oh.
And maybe it's just like chemistry and like games played, like we just a lot of new faces and things like that. But
right.
it feels like I'm like, I shouldn't say that because like it sounds like I'm a homer, but I don't know. They've filled every single gap possible. And yeah, I guess kicker would be like the one thing where I'm like, you know, little iffy about.
Right. And going back to that schedule, you know, you talked about chemistry and new faces. All the guys are really good, and you have a nice mix of guys who are established, guys, you know, some guys who have been there before. You got Denzel and Miles and those guys. And then you have, you know, rookies and, you know, Delpit, who's basically a rookie because he missed the entire season last year. But now I hate to give any praise to the man, but Colin Cowherd said this, and he made a great point. It's going to be depending, you know, the Browns have tough opponents, but based on where they play some of these opponents, it you know, it could really either, you know, hurt the Browns or work against them. If the beginning of the season, you know, excluding the Chiefs game, now that we know that they open up with them week 1, you know, if the first half of the season is, you know, front loaded with some of those easier opponents versus, and then, you know, play those tougher opponents later in the season where guys have played and, you know, are more familiar with playing with each other, that would definitely benefit the Browns. But if the Browns are hammered and their first 4 weeks are like, you know, like Chicago and, you know, Kansas City, Chicago, Baltimore, even Pittsburgh's still going to be tough. Cincinnati's going to be better. You know, if you're just hammering all those at the beginning, it's definitely going to, you know, it could make for a shaky start for the Browns season.
Yeah, it definitely could, man. And that's such a good point. Hopefully they don't front load the schedule, but at the end of the day, the Browns are top to bottom, top 3 best roster in the NFL. They're top 3 best team. We'll have to see what happens. You know, my biggest thing that I would worry about would be, you know, can Baker throw the ball to Odell Beckham Jr.? He hasn't consistently been able to do it. Not necessarily Odell's fault, but just I feel like he's force feeding it, or feel like he just thinks about it too much. But when Odell's not out there, the Browns statistically have been better. Now we will see. I mean, obviously, like when you add talent into the wide receiver room, it's not going to make you worse. Plus, they just added Anthony Schwartz, which I like that guy out of Auburn.
Yeah.
I really liked him, and the quarterback play for him at Auburn was not very good. As an Auburn guy,
so you would know. You're the
War Eagle baby. Yeah. So, but I'm really happy for that. So, but hopefully Baker and Odell can have some chemistry this year. I would hate to see OBJ play somewhere else. But I do have a question before we, you know, get back on topic. So you went to Arizona State. We were talking about Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
And Liv Cowherd.
Sure does.
Did you ever see her? Did you ever meet her? Did you ever party with nothing?
Never ever met her. We no, I don't think she's in school anymore. She, got like kind of like awkwardly Twitter famous and started some weird thing or whatever. But I have a friend
Selling socks.
yeah, socks, right? And I have this friend, it's so weird. And so I have this friend, and this girl that he talks to, it might be his official girlfriend. I don't know. I don't want to get him in trouble or make him seem like a romantic here. But she is like really good friends with Liv Coward, like really, really good friends. Like they talk a lot, would see each other. Like Liv Coward will text her, like, I miss you, stuff like that. But I have never run in the same circle as Liv Coward. But I will say, this is like it sounds so ridiculous for Arizona State, but you hear about, I know my friend who went to like OU, right? They would go to a formal and they would do something cool. They would go and rent out like a big cabin place or whatever in like Tennessee. Out here in ASU, we go to Vegas, which is just ridiculous. So we had one guy who was the social chair made a run at, DM'd and sent him the screenshots. He's like, wish me luck, boys. And he tried to get Liv Coward to go with him to formal, but it never happened. So that was as close as I got, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. I was hoping you had some story about you guys seeing each other, things like that. But
yeah, me with
man. Yeah,
jersey. Yeah. I'm like, I have a Baker Mayfield jersey on, and I run into her at like a tailgate or something. I'm like, so this is awkward.
Oh my God. I could only imagine. That would have been awesome. But yeah, good for her. Cause she, it seems like she's made some sort of career off of, not her dad, but just like everybody like, damn, Colin Coward's daughter is a good looking woman, and she sells used socks. No, I think she's done a good job.
Yeah.
With that.
I support the hell out of it. I think it's awesome. Speaking of Odell though, so how'd you get the hookup? You have a signed Odell jersey. He appreciates your support. How did that happen? How did he, you're going to pull it out. I'm going to do this.
Dude, yeah.
My
setup is really bad. Because on the riverfront at Cuyahoga River in Cleveland, I did happen to bring my Odell back from Jersey.
Amazing.
So you were able to see it? No, it's green screen.
Yeah, it's green screen. People can tell it's there. But yeah, so how'd you get that? How would you get in contact with Odell, or how did Odell come across your stuff? Because it's a big deal. Odell's huge.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that I no longer have contact with him anymore. But for now, we'll see. Yeah. So well, first off, I started doing some like reporting, and after it being wrong so many times, like I was like, all right, I'm done reporting. But I did some stuff about Odell Beckham Jr. and I was like, I hope this shit isn't right. I hope they like aren't going to trade him and stuff. And then I just deleted this stuff. I was like, whatever, this is dumb. Yeah. But anyways, people kind of throw that at me, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But I was just so tired of him getting bashed about things, like just for no reason. Like he's always seemed like a nice guy. He's really talented. He's passionate. Like it's just, everything about him, just because he was in New York and a superstar, like I feel like was blown out of proportion.
Right.
So there was just a lot of hate online one day, and I made a video. I'm like, quit hating on this guy. Like he's a good dude. Like he's nice. And I was just kind of making fun of people that were trying to make fun of him. And for whatever reason, like the next day, somebody sent it to him. I look at my phone, I get a notification that says OBJ followed you back. And then I got a message from him, and we were shooting the shit one night, which is like the craziest thing ever. Like, and he's so nice, super nice guy. Like, wasn't trying to get me to post anything or whatever. I just did it because one, good content, but two is like I was like, I gotta show people this guy's really nice.
So appreciation.
But but he's like, hey, send me an address, I'll send you a jersey. And like, dude, it's like an NFL 100 jersey.
Is a
stitched for Odell. It's nuts, and it's like it has his signature on it. Then he says to Sir Yacht, much love, bro. Appreciate you being a real one. Love you, Brody. Bless.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was nuts. Dude wrote a book on the back of his jersey, but it was it's really cool, really nice guy. So that's the crazy thing about social media, man. It's just I'll never know where this shit will take me, or it'll take anybody, or where it'll take you for that matter. And it's just you just put out stuff and you kind of see what's in it. It's just a beautiful thing.
And it's kind of funny, you talk about this, kind of made me think, when you're talking about Odell being in New York, such a huge superstar, all this chatter around him. it kind of his trajectory and how he became, so famous. It's almost kind of equivalent to a child star almost, because obviously when he was in college, he's at LSU. That's a huge school, but and people knew who he was. He was a high draft pick, but it's not like he was playing in the Joe Burrow offense, where it was just like up and down the field, right? So he wasn't on as big of a stage or showcased as much as obviously he probably could have been in college, as if he was somewhere else, right? And then he comes into the league, he's playing in New York, and really he, is famous and known, but becomes mega famous overnight because of the catch. And that was on, that was under the lights. So that was probably a primetime game, I'm sure. And, I can't remember exactly. So that's the only football game that's on. He makes one of probably the greatest, just from an athletic standpoint, like how did that even happen? One of the most impossible, insane catches of all time for a touchdown in New York. And all of a sudden overnight, it's like if you were, like any of these Disney stars or whatever, you're in this movie and all of a sudden it's an overnight success. And then you almost have to be like, whoa, like my life is all of a sudden super different overnight. Like obviously it changed once I went to the NFL, but now it's like into the stratosphere and it's almost not slowing down. And I imagine that has to be a lot to deal with. And then you have, some of those low moments like that game against Josh Norman where they're going back and forth at each other, where neither of them were really playing football. They were just fighting with each other and taking cheap shots the whole game. You have the kicking net thing and everything, but you're exactly right. The whole time he's been in Cleveland, all it's been is just bullshit out of talking heads' mouths. I really don't see in any way how he's been a distraction or a negative whatsoever. I mean, he seems to be to have been amazing. And I think that's, where we share. We want it to work out so badly because it's like, here's this superstar and we just want it to click so badly because everything that he can control, he's pretty much taken care of and been an A+ student.
Right. So two things on that. So first, a lot of this stuff happened when he was in New York and when he was like 22, 23 years old. Like,
are you kidding?
That's so much to take in, like that spotlight and to be over scrutinized for everything you do is ridiculous. And he's still 28 right now. Like he's not like he's still young. Like I don't know. People just are so hard, especially like grown ass men. It's like, who the fuck are you to say all this stuff about Odell? Yeah. And another thing too is like, oh, well, he like gets mad on the sideline. Anybody that's like he's mad at a teammate. Anybody that has played a sport, whether it's in high school, college, like even intramurals at the YMCA with white ass slow people. Yeah, you get mad, you get competitive, you might say things to some teammates. It's not a big deal. We just don't think about it and like move on. Like you like bury the hatchet. It's for him, like it's so stupid because like, oh, like Odell has argued or like he's been fired up, whatever. Yeah, that's called adrenaline. That's called sports. It's called wanting to win. Look at any other NFL athlete and they'll do the same thing. But Tom Brady Odell's put under a damn microscope because he's Odell.
And Tom Brady's the biggest one. And you're right too. It comes back to people commenting on this stuff. Just like people commenting about Cleveland, probably most of them have never been. And the people that are commenting on all this stuff, like, oh my gosh, probably never played sports past like elementary school or junior high, or just don't understand, which makes no sense. But you look at Tom Brady, it all comes down to perspective. He's got all these Super Bowls. So if he motherfucks Josh McDaniels, his coach, his offensive coordinator, it's like, yeah, McDaniels deserved it. Fuck that guy. What a moron for calling that play. Like, no, but if it's Odell, it's just like, ugh, look at the way that he just walked past Freddie Kitchens. Freddie Kitchens is definitely in the right here. It just is absolutely not true. But it's just, yeah, God, I just can't imagine, because he's like, I just want to live my life. I just want to play football. He loves, from everything that we've heard and seen, he loves being in Cleveland. And I'm sure it was tough there for a while. But, as the season went on, he did start to tweet more stuff and in support. And I'm sure he was very supportive behind the scenes. And obviously, I'm sure he was talking to Jarvis all the time. Those guys are best friends. So I understand it because of who he is and where he's been and everything, but I don't like it.